Okay. Hey everybody, Tuesday night, and tonight we're going to talk about marketing and the 21-Day Fix Extreme. But first I'm going to put on my hat, because I just got this really cool hat. I don't know if you can see it, but it says North Shore on it. Monica gave it to me as a present, which was really cool of her. And and I'm totally joking. This is actually her hat. I stole it, but I am going to North Shore, so I won't get my own hat. Monica and I on Friday are going to Hawaii to go to an awesome wedding for Lisa Yoon, and then also go to the North Shore and go to the Pipe Masters. But let's talk about some marketing stuff. Let me get my little pens and get all in order here. Tonight I'm going to talk about how to launch a product, okay? And it's based in large part on this book. The book is called Launch. The author's name is Jeff Walker. And I saw Jeff Walker speak at a seminar that I went to. Shalene had Marketing Impact Academy. Jeff Walker was there, and he gave me a copy of his book, which I have read and made some notes. And I've been thinking for a long time, how do I take this guy's book and convert it into some systems that are going to help you guys become more successful. We've been using these in some different forms for a while. We didn't do this, what I'm talking about doing with Insanity Max 30. A couple of reasons for that. One of the big ones was it's not a big product that we are going to be using. And sometimes I feel like, you know, we get a little salesy if we, sorry, I'm going to bail this thumbnail. That's much better now. Now we're talking. Sorry, it's a funky little video thing with Zoom. You know, I like to be promoting products that we are going to be really using. Now, the 21-Day Fix is not something necessarily that is a huge thing for me, although I did lower fix today, and I can tell you that Autumn is not playing around in that video. But it is for Monica. It's a huge one. In fact, 21-Day Fix is probably the #1 thing for her right now. It's also what she regularly does. And so, you know, one of my jobs is to help Monica market. And so we're going to do a Jeff Walker style launch on the 21-Day Fix. So why are we talking about that today when we know the program does not come out until February 2nd? Because we are 8 weeks out. And 8 to 6 weeks before your product comes out, regardless of if it's something that Beachbody is creating or if you are creating your own product, for those of you who might be interested in this, I think you'll find this stuff to be interesting. It's one thing to create a product. It's another one to really launch it and get people to buy whatever it is you're creating. So Jeff Walker's, I guess, system has 3 phases. The pre-launch, which you start 8 to 6 weeks ahead of the actual launch, the pre-launch, and then the big launch. So what I'm going to do with our team call series here is I'm going to give you the what to do for the next couple of weeks as we enter this pre-launch period, okay? Then, I'm not going to be on the call next week because I'm going to be in Hawaii. The week after that, we'll do another call and I will talk to you about the pre-launch. So this is the pre-launch, all right? Now, what if you don't do this? You're just missing out on an opportunity. This is low-hanging fruit for you, regardless of whether the 21-Day Fix is a big thing for you or not. This is going to be, I'm filming this video in part to go back and watch myself, because I'm not going to talk real specifically about the 21-Day Fix. I'll probably give you some ideas. Instead, my goal is to explain to you what a pre-launch is all about, and then I want you to use your creativity to come up with the story that you're going to tell, the narrative that you're going to start to market, so that you can accomplish some of the things that are on this page and a bunch more stuff that's going to go here. Okay? So hopefully we are all on board with doing that. Let's talk a little bit about this idea, this concept of a pre-launch. I have the objectives written up here because I just thought it would be really time consuming. And I think this is really the key to this whole pre-launch. You have to understand what you're doing. We do not have something to sell right now. So you shouldn't be selling something. What do I mean by that? If you look at the way most people react to Beachbody's marketing? What do? Well, let's look at Insanity Max 30. Go back a few weeks. What were you doing 6 weeks ago to make Insanity Max 30 sales last Tuesday when it came out? Maybe you weren't doing anything. But if you were doing something, my guess is you were sharing content from Beachbody. Because it's really easy to do, right? You like their Facebook page or you subscribe to their YouTube channel, and when they put out some new content, you're like, there's the content. And sometimes that's okay. There's pieces of that are really good, particularly in the pre-launch. Pre-launch, don't do that. Don't try and sell the 21-Day Fix Extreme, or if you're watching this next summer before whatever the product releases that comes out at Summit, don't try and sell this product 8 weeks in advance. That's not your goal right now. These are the objectives that you should have in your mind right now to be looking ahead to February, okay? So what are they? We are trying to create interest. So hopefully you can see this as now, pre-launch is about creating interest because I don't have anything to sell you right now, okay? If we're talking about the 21-Day Fix Extreme. Obviously, we have Insanity Max 30. We have regular 21-Day Fix. That might be a great thing to sell somebody now in order to create some interest in 21-Day Fix Extreme. But your real goal is to create interest. So let me get more specific about some of the different objectives that we have during your pre-launch or pre-launch. Sorry. The first thing is to identify what the offer is. Okay, so you want your people to understand that there's this thing that's coming, okay? Now, you can't, if you just do what, is really tempting, which is just share what Beachbody is giving you, and you don't create any of your own content, they're gonna tell this story of the 21-Day Fix Extreme probably before you really want them to. Because that's what they do, okay? They market on TV. They're not doing a pre-launch. They start telling you right away what it is. Here it is, here it is, here it is. It's a little too early for that. This is one of the goals during the pre-launch, but it's not really the big one. The second one, and this is an important one, is to identify objections, okay? I'm gonna show you ways that you can identify your prospects' objections now. 8 weeks before you have anything to sell to them. Guess what's gonna happen when 8 weeks comes around and it's time to sell stuff to them? You're gonna know what their objections are, and you're gonna have 8 weeks to deal with them, okay? One of the objections, I'll just get a little bit specific, that I have heard about 21-Day Fix Extreme is that people are a little bit scared of it. It's kind of like, when we start coming out with a new Insanity or something, people go, oh, harder? It's gonna be harder than Insanity? And they backpedal a little. What you can do now and in the next 8 weeks is start managing that, addressing that issue. There's going to be others, and I'm going to talk to you about how to find out what they are so that you can address your prospects' objections. Maybe it's going to be cost. I don't know. There's a way to find out, and it's part of this pre-launch. Next one, start telling the story. Okay, there is a really old saying, and it really applies in our business, that facts tell and stories sell. We want to be telling stories. I'm going to show you how you can start telling stories now that will make you sales in 8 weeks, and it will make your sales easy in 8 weeks. This is all designed, I should say that, this is all designed to make your sales easy in 8 weeks. So that in 8 weeks you have a group of people who are teed up, and there is no, when you send them the link, they go, oh, this is too expensive. You knew that going in, you've already addressed it, they already know the deal, and they've hopefully overcome that objection, and they're just ready to go. It's just designed to make it easy for you guys. The next one, major goal of the pre-launch, gather testimonials. Testimonials are super, super powerful. And the great thing about a product like the 21-Day Fix Extreme, since it's a follow-up, is you can gather testimonials about the 21-Day Fix. You can gather testimonials about your coaching. You can gather testimonials about how you're responsive via email or whatever it is that you're really good at. We're going to talk a little bit about getting those now so that when we do our pre-launch, you can use those testimonials and you come right back, you come back around with a testimonial, and boom, it helps people overcome their objections before they even really come up in their head, okay? Next one, build a buzz. This is a huge one for us. You know, we're gonna play on some different mental triggers, and I'm gonna walk you through what those are in just a second. Building a buzz is huge. This is where Beachbody does help us in a huge, huge way in helping us build a buzz, because they just give us so much great content to share. I really want to encourage you guys to create a lot of your own content. I want you to think outside the box and really get original with what you're going to do as far as this whole launch goes. But in helping building a buzz, Beachbody is really good at that, and it is a big, big part of what we're doing today, and we're going to leverage them. That's what I view. I think that's what really the best coaches do, is they're able to leverage what Beachbody does in order to create their own story, create their own brand, all right? The next one, warm up your warm list. What a great time to plant seeds. 8 weeks before there's anything to buy. Have you ever had a conversation, if you've been doing this business long enough, you've had this conversation. People are quizzing you about it, and the first thing I'll tell people, yeah, it's not on sale. It'll be out, you know, later, right? And then we can have a conversation about it. They're not worried about me asking them for a sale. I just took that away. So we're warming up the warm list during this time period. These last two, I think, are pretty important. What's that beeping sound? Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that beeping sound, but it's like, it's coming from outside. Anyway. That is weird. As alien invasion is here or something. I'll get it all on camera. These two are pretty important for people in particular who are maybe new to, you know, this whole concept. Identifying your audience and identifying the marketplace or venue. Let me explain briefly what I mean by those. The first one is identifying the audience. You need to understand who your audience for this product is. And, you know, is this the person in your avatar? Is this the person you've been successfully coaching? This is an extreme program, you know. Now, again, we're going to get more detail on it. There'll be stuff coming out. I don't know if there's a modifier, for example. If somebody out there does, good. Let us know. Post a comment. Is there a modifier? That's one of the questions I have that I know is going to come up in identifying objections. Is it just too gnarly for the average person? Maybe a lot of the people that we've been working with on the 21-day fix is just going to be too hard for them. So who's our real audience here? And where are they? Okay, who's the audience and where are they at? Maybe they're not on Facebook. Maybe they hang out on Instagram. Maybe they read blogs. I don't know. That's for you to figure out, and this is a good time to do it. And I'm going to show you how to find out where they're at. Okay, so I'm going to just move this down just a little bit because I'm going to start writing on this board. So how do we do this pre-launch? What are we trying to do? What's the kind of nuts and bolts of what we're trying to do here? Your pre-launch is an opening shot. That's all it is. It's, you know, shot across the bow, whatever analogy you want to use. Again, you have nothing to sell right now, so you're just trying to tell a story. Okay, so here's how I'm going to suggest that you tell a story. You try to enroll people in an idea. That's what sales is. Marketing, okay, specifically. Marketing is enrolling people in an idea. Now, when we talk about enrollment, there's a little bit of a term of art that I want to define here. Enrollment really means getting somebody to do what you want them to do for their reasons. Again, their reasons. This is all of their reason type. Most of this stuff is their reasons. So if I can get them enrolled in my idea, which is not necessarily that I want to sell you a challenge pack, even though I do. The idea is probably you changing your life. Okay? If you get caught up in the challenge pack thing, you're going to end up dealing with price objections and all this other stuff. Okay? That's just how this works. But if you can enroll them in the idea, and the idea becomes, I want that body, and I want it in 21 days, those are the types of ideas that you can start to enroll people in now. How do you do it? Okay? There's kind of an interesting combination of a mystery and mental triggers. Mystery plus mental triggers. I'm going to just touch on mystery really quickly because I don't mean for you to create some like super sleuth, thing that requires somebody to go out and, get a geocaching GPS and find stuff in the woods. I'm just talking about a little bit of interest. Something that when people look at that, they go, what is that? Something that creates interest is a little bit mysterious, makes it interesting. It makes people go, I wonder what that's all about. Okay? I don't know what your mystery with the 21-day fix is going to be. The containers are a pretty compelling, way to create some little mystery on social media, just on a daily basis. What's in the container today? I don't know. You're going to have to think outside the box here. But what I'm telling you is you need to create a little bit of mystery to generate some interest. And then we're going to use these mental triggers. And I want to go through these 9 mental triggers. And I want to talk to you about how you can use the mental triggers and apply them to these objectives now, 8 weeks out. And for the next 2 weeks, really, this may be, I'm not recommending that you just sort of, boom, spam your customers for Beachbody and bail. It's more than that. You're trying to engage people. You're trying to start a conversation here. You're trying to tell a story. So what are the mental triggers we're going to use? The first one is, I'm going to start over here a little bit because I don't need enough room. The first one is authority. Authority is a really important mental trigger. Doctors use authority, right? They show up in their white coat. Do they need to wear a white coat? No. But when a doctor walks in the room in a white coat, you go, okay, the doctor's here, and I'll pay attention now. If you can establish yourself as an authority, maybe based on past experience, whether it's your experience or you helping somebody else, I don't know what your position is. Maybe you have a lot of health and fitness background, and you're already kind of an authority. Your prospects need to know that. This mental trigger will help you enroll them in this idea because it gives you the right to say, I know what I'm talking about. You should do what I'm doing, okay? If you notice in my trainings, just a little peek behind the curtain here, if you're engaged in one of my Coach Basics group, I use authority in a big, big way. Right away, I start to tell people, hey, I've been successful in this business. If you want to be successful, do what I say. And authority works for me in a very powerful way in those groups and in a lot of my other marketing. And it's something that I use regularly. So authority is important. The second one, reciprocity. Reciprocity is really simple. Reciprocity is basically that the idea that I'm going to give you something. And what does that mean? It means at some point I'm going to ask you for something back. Okay? And this is what we apply when we do all of our email marketing stuff, right? The email marketing is very reciprocity based. You arrive at a landing page. The landing page says, hey, I've got this free thing for you, report, meal plan, whatever, video. And all I need in exchange is your email address. And right there, okay, I want that free thing. And I'm willing to let this guy send me a few emails. If they suck, I'll unsubscribe. That's reciprocity. Reciprocity is another really powerful mental trigger. I'm going to talk to you about how to hone in on it a little bit. All right, the third one is trust. Trust is huge. You can build a lot of trust during this period, the next couple of weeks. If all you can hit is trust, when it comes to closing time, you are going to have a tremendous advantage. A tremendous advantage. Trust is so important to what we do, and it's one of these things that if you can establish now while you're telling a story, you're going to have a lot more success in February when this thing comes out. All right, so number 4, is anticipation. Anticipation is related to building buzz, right? You want to be part of a happening thing. Okay, everybody wants to be at that club, or whatever, the one with the big long line, the VIP. And if you can get in there, the anticipation of maybe getting in there works really well for you. The other one that kind of goes hand in hand with anticipation is scarcity. That's a 5. Okay, so anticipation and scarcity play off each other. They both equal buzz. if you can create a little bit of anticipation and you've got something that you're, that maybe there's not a limited, that there's a limited amount of, like maybe your time or the time to get in on whatever it is your offer is, whatever it is that you decide you're going to create for this thing. Anticipation and scarcity play off each other. So think about what could you do to build this launch beyond just sharing what Beachbody's sharing. What can you add? What value can you add? Which is how you get reciprocity and establish trust, is by simply giving people some value. All right. Number 6. Number 6 is likability. There's a ton you can do to establish likability right now. Okay, I'm gonna give you some ideas in a minute, but this is a big one. People want to work with people that they like. This is your opportunity to show them who you are. Don't come out of nowhere with it. Show them who you are now. This is your big chance. Well, there is no sale to be made. This is your chance to establish these things. The next one, number 7, community. This is another of the mental triggers we use in pretty much all of our marketing. Community, community, community. We want you to be a part of it. You want to be a part of it. It's all about the community. It's about the support, the accountability. That one gets us over a lot of objections, a lot of them. If you don't already have this established, now's a good time to be like, hey, here's the community, okay? The next one is events. That's an E. Everybody likes to be part of an event. It's kind of the thing about the club. Think about the events that are going to be going on around your launch. New Year's is kind of an obvious one. Will be happening around your launch. We're going to talk later about what a good idea it would be in the new year to be on a 21-day fix group, to have a group going that ends somewhere around this time. The other thing is this is a couple days after the Super Bowl. Now, as I've talked with a couple of people about this, they kind of said, maybe there's a Super Bowl theme in there that I could use to put together a story that would help me identify all of these things and check off a lot of these mental triggers and would get people fired up about doing this product after the Super Bowl. Well, now that's using the thinking cap. That's being creative. That's having fun with this whole thing. The last one is a huge one. And it's social proof. Social proof. Social proof is related to building buzz. It's related to objections for sure. It really helps tell the story, and it's why gathering testimonials is so important, okay? It's so important. If you can get people to give you a few testimonials and they'll agree to let you share them, you can check this off. And there's something about it. It's why Beachbody has been so successful. I don't know if you know the story really quickly because I don't have a ton of time tonight. But when the P90X infomercial launched, they had fitness models in it. And it did okay, but it could have done way better. When they started putting real people in the videos, it took off. That's because they all of a sudden started ticking that box. And people went, wow, these are not just fitness models. Let me kind of turn this screen. Sorry, it's reading backwards on my screen, so hopefully you guys can read this stuff. And I'll take a picture when this is all done and you have a little cheat sheet to use. But we've got our objectives and this how-to of creating a mystery using these mental triggers. So I want to give you some ideas of things you can do that would help you accomplish these objectives and check off some of these, mental triggers. The first one is really simple. It's just give something away. Okay, so think about what could you create? What could you create that would help you tell the story of the 21-day fix or whatever the product is, depending on when you're watching this, and would help you maybe identify some objections, but really start telling the story and maybe check off a few of these, because I told you earlier that if you give something away, all right, it helps you to build and establish trust with people. It also creates a reciprocal relationship where you're now, it's kind of like tennis, right? Like I whack the ball to you and then I sit there and wait. And what are you gonna do? Just let it go by you, or you're gonna hit it back to me. This is where you're able to interact with people because you've given them something. What can you create? Okay, meal plan is kind of a really obvious thing that you can put together, but there's so much more, okay? Videos explaining how to use the containers. I don't know if you noticed, but the containers were in the Insanity Max 30 Deluxe kit. People are looking for that stuff anyway. What if you had a great video on how to use the containers or how all this stuff works, and then you could send that out to the people. You could warm up your warm list with that. I'm not asking you to buy anything today. Maybe you've already got the 21-day fix. What I really just want to do is I created this thing. Here it is. If you want to know how we built our whole business, this is it. This is what we did. We started giving stuff away. Started thinking about what do people need and how can we fill that void, and then we just gave it away. And it created tons of trust for us. It created a reciprocal relationship, and it established us as an authority. So people have started to come to me when they have questions about non-Beachbody related stuff. What do you think about this marathon training or stuff that I don't even know a whole lot about, but they look at me as the authority because we've established it. A lot of it is using just a gift. Another thing, like how do you play with your audience? Let's play with them a little bit. So how could you play with your audience a little bit? How could you tease them a little bit? If you're somebody who's very likable, you need to play on that. If you're funny and clever and cute or whatever it is that you are, but I'm not really any of those things, so I don't do a whole lot with likability. I give stuff away, and that makes me likable, I guess. But this likability thing is really important, and if you have that element and you have that personality, this is a great time to play on it. Don't wait until the link is live to have people go, hey, I swear I'm super likable, and here's my link, go buy it. Build on this now. Find something that you can do that's a little bit playful. Play with them a little bit. Have some fun with it. I know, some of you are really, the wheels are turning, and I think this is really good. All right, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at my notes. Make sure I don't miss anything. All right, big one. Feedback. Ask for feedback. What is feedback? Feedback is a nice way to say constructive criticism, all right? If you are on my list, you should have gotten an email from me on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, I sent out an email to all of the lists that I have. In that email, I started off with, thank you, just wanted to say thanks, I was thinking about you, and then after I was grateful for our relationship, my first thought was, how can I better serve you? And I'm lost. How can I better serve you? And then I did something really important. I used the word reply. Sorry, I'm looking for the different pen here. I used the word reply, and I'm going to show you how I used it. I didn't use it like this. So I didn't have a sentence that says, please reply to my email and tell me how I can better serve you. I used it like this, literally. All caps, bold, in red. When you scanned an email that I sent you, that stuck out. And subconsciously, people were thinking about hitting the reply button before they ever knew what the email was about. If they opened it, I had a crazy, sorry for that noise, that's my Sirius radio telling me I need to get off of it, which I will just do really quickly so it doesn't bong at me again. That email had a crazy response rate, just a crazy response rate for two reasons. One, I asked people for feedback, and I did this. Now, you may not be messaging people, you may not have an email list. That's okay. This is the type of thing you can do on social, okay? Now, you might not be able to have a reply be in all red caps. You could have it in all caps, but what if you had an image that had that in there? Please reply, and you trigger this subconscious thing of somebody going, should I reply to that? that's all you need people thinking right away if you can check off some of these other little social triggers now, okay? The other reason that I had a really crazy reply to that was I really was asking for feedback. I really was. I was coming to them and saying, I know I can get better. Tell me how. Tell me what I could do to better serve you. Now, guess what happens when I did that? I started to learn what their objections were. I started to learn what they needed. And it helped me gather testimonials. Because a lot of people replied to that email and said, you know what? You kick ass. And I don't get emails like this from anybody who sit there and say, hey, I appreciate our relationship and how can I serve you better? Built a ton of trust with people. Working on reciprocity, working on authority, nothing about anticipation, nothing about scarcity. Likability may have been able to establish more likability with people just based on asking for feedback. Okay, event, social proof, community maybe. I mean, there were a lot of people who, were like, well, I'd like to see, a better community. And I said, do you even know what we have to offer you? And there were a lot of people who went, wow, you do? Oh, I guess I must have missed that email. Well, of course they did. It doesn't matter if you're using a list or not, though. You can really get to things by asking for feedback. So specific to that, because I know some of you do have a list and some of you are building lists, I want to give you a couple of things that you can do. This is a great thing to do is, what are your top 2 questions? Okay, and you can do this on social as well. It's a matter of starting to tell a story and then getting into what are your top questions about this product release that's coming out, or do you even have questions about it? It will help you get here. I guarantee you it's going to help you identify what their objections are, and then you can be responsive to that in the pre-launch phase, where you're going to actually say, you're going to create something that addresses that so that they've checked this off of their to-do list way before February 2nd. By February 2nd, they're frothing. That's what we want. We want a nice frothy audience on February 2nd of 2015 when this thing releases. And this is really the first step to getting there. Let me see what else I got in my notes. Yes, telling stories. All right, telling stories. So that's the next one I want to talk about. Stories. I told you earlier, facts tell, stories sell. We are trying to enroll people in an idea, and we don't have anything to sell them yet. So there's no point in with all the facts, which is what you're going to do. That's what's tempting, because this is the content Beachbody is going to give you. All the workouts are 30 minutes or whatever piece of information it is about the program. Information. Those are all facts. We don't even have a sale yet. So let's tell stories. What stories could you tell? How about we start with you? Your story. What is your story? Do you have a great story? Is it a 21-day fix story? This might not be your thing. I would have had a really hard time putting together an Insanity Max 30 story. If I had done Asylum and had done, and I've done Insanity, but if I had done and followed all those programs, I might have a story to tell about me. You might not. So who else could you tell stories about? Well, let's start with your customers. How would you tell your customer's story? By getting their testimonial. See the importance of getting a testimonial, that objective in this whole first element, in order to plug in down here, start telling these stories, which are then going to check off. That might check off an authority box that somebody really needs checked. It might hit that mental trigger for you. It could also be a community thing. A lot of the testimonials we get, they don't talk about Dave or Monica. Sometimes they talk about Dave and Monica, but they talk about our community a lot. They talk about the name of whatever the group was that they're a part of. That might help you. Another story you could tell, Autumn. One of the things I am going to really try and do is enroll people in the idea of Autumn. Okay, so that means finding out a little bit more about her. I was lucky enough that we had her here at our Diamond Retreat, and I was able to hear her story and like really connect with it. You know, I think some people look at her and think like, oh, well, life's always been easy for her. She's got the hot body and, you know, that whole thing. It hasn't. She has had a lot of personal struggles. And if you can tell that story and you can enroll them in the idea of autumn, when February 2nd comes, they're in love already. And they might already be there. You might be, if you're marketing to a bunch of 21-day fix people, they already like her. Maybe. Or maybe they dislike her because they think they know who she is. Enroll them in the idea of her by telling her story. Okay, by telling her story. And we've kind of talked about, you know, the testimonials and gathering testimonials from customers. This is really the system. This is the pre-launch. You know, some of this stuff you won't bother to do. All I can tell you is I have learned from some of the best marketers in the world, okay? Chalene Johnson being, you know, probably the one you would know the most about. They do this. I get their emails. I get Brendon Bouchard's emails. I get, you know, Sean Markley's emails. I get emails from these guys who are world-class marketers doing this with me all the time. They'll send me an email and it's like, hey, got a sec? Maybe, all right, what do you got? And it's a video. It's a link to a video that, you know, Brendon Bouchard has filmed. And it's a video that's designed to accomplish one or more of these objectives. And it might just be this one. By doing something that creates some value for me, or telling a story, or maybe playing with me a little bit. He does that a little bit. But maybe playing with me a little bit. Okay, something kind of funny or playful or whatever, to be able to connect with that. And a lot of asking for feedback. A lot of asking what my questions are. Now, the last thing I want to suggest to you, and then I got to go pick up my boy from water polo, is a survey. Okay, you can use SurveyMonkey. I don't use SurveyMonkey, but I can tell you what to say in the survey. If you are interested in using a survey, and I would love actually to collaborate with people on that. I don't really want to pay for yet another thing, and SurveyMonkey is yet another thing. I am sure there's a free and easy way to take a survey that you could then send to, I don't know, all your Team Beachbody customers, or everybody that brought the 21-Day Fix Extreme, or an email list, or a group you're in, or even just post it on your Facebook. Okay? I would love to work on this one. So if you want to work on that, get in touch with me and let's work on it a little bit. And let's come up with, you know, an easy, cheap, free way to do a survey that actually works. It's very similar to asking for feedback, you know, via email or on your Facebook or wherever, you know, you communicate with people. But this little concept is super important. All right, with that, I got to run. My boy gets out in just a few minutes and I get to be there. I want to just see if there's anything else that I kind of forgot to touch on. You're going to go get him? Okay, never mind. So I'm not in a big rush anymore. Monica's going to go get him. Thank you. Let me just make sure. Oh, I know what I was going to do. Good. I'm glad we have a minute. So the mental triggers. I'm going to talk a little bit about launch just really quickly, and recommend you get the book. You know, it's an easy read. It's a very interesting read, and I think applies a lot to what we do. There's also some other stuff in here where he's kind of talking about, you know, how you would launch a product, or, you know, how you might leverage somebody to do kind of a joint venture with you. So I'm just looking on this fan, it's hot in here. How you might get somebody to be interested in doing a joint venture with you. I don't know if that so applies, but this mental triggers thing, and this thing is pretty cheap on Amazon. Again, that's Launch by Jeff Walker. I want to read you this thing about community. I want to zero in on this since I have a minute right here. This specific little gem here. So I'm just going to highlight it because I told you that community plays a major role in everything we do. It's one of the mental triggers that we focus on, and I would have listed it first, but he didn't. So, so it's number 7 on my list. I want to read you what he says about a community. He says, You can actually build your own online community right in the middle of your launch. Once you get people interacting with you because you're telling a story, okay, and maybe you've created a little mystery that they're like interested, so they kind of got to follow you and figure out what you're talking about. Once you get people interacting with you, with your marketing, and with each other, if you can get that to happen, if you can get your customers in your groups to recommend the 21-day fix for you, or you can get them, this happens a lot for us, this is why community is so important, our customers will recommend Shakeology. And we've got people in the groups who aren't on Shakeology, and then somebody comes barreling in with a great testimonial about their experience with Shakeology, and our customers look at it and they go, man, I already pretty much trust these guys, but now I have some social proof on my side because of this community, and they all of a sudden they're open to Shakeology and they're trying it. Okay, so I'll just finish this. I totally interrupt that. Start from the beginning. Once you can actually build your own online community, you can actually build your own online community right in the middle of your launch. Once you get people interacting with you, with your marketing, and with each other, you're on your way to forming a community, which means, of course, that you can create your own community norms. Those norms could include actions like helping spread the word about your pre-launch content, making comments on your launch blog, or liking your post on social media, or even buying your product. We have been able to create community norms based on authority, based on reciprocity, based on trust, on occasion based on anticipation and scarcity, certainly based on likability, and events, timely at times, but on social proof. We've been able to build a community that it's easy to sell stuff because we have all these mental triggers checked off. And what's great about all this is it still and always comes from a place where we're actually really helping people. I'm not giving stuff away because I somehow have the trust box checked off. I really like to create cool stuff and give it to people so more people use it. And that comes out in all the stuff we do. So, I think that this community thing is really important, and it can help you build your community. For those of you guys who are maybe your new coaches, and you're going like, wow, this sounds great, but I can't gather any testimonials because I don't have any. Well, you probably have yours. You've got 8 weeks. What is 8 weeks, divided by 21 days? How many rounds of the 21-day fix can you get in there? 3 or something? Build some. Get some people to do the 21-day fix and help them build, help them gather their testimonials and help them tell your story. This is why you have a pre-launch that is 8 weeks before the product is even available. Because now is your time to check all this stuff off and to meet all of these different objectives, or not all of them, as many as you can. As many as you can. This is how you do it. This is the framework. So again, to review, no call next week because I'm going to be on the North Shore. Got my hat now. No call next week. I want you to focus on this stuff. Digest this. If you need to ask me questions, ask me some questions. If you have a ton of questions, get the book. Okay, you can also buck up for Jeff Walker's Product Launch Formula, which is an online video series where he goes into super detail about all this stuff. I think the book is probably enough. This is a big hat. Anyway, so no call next week. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll focus on this stuff. 6 weeks out, we're going to start pre-launch. That's the next phase of this whole thing is pre-launch. I'm not going to get into what we're going to do in the pre-launch tonight because I just want to give you 2 weeks to go have fun with this stuff. Go start telling a story. Go start enrolling people in ideas that are related to these things that are, designed to accomplish these objectives using these social triggers. And first, and the other thing I'll just finish with is commit to making mistakes in this. That is how you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work for you and which of the mental triggers you can check off. I kind of joke that I'm not a very likable person. I think the people who know me like me. I'm a pretty nice guy, but I don't play on that likability thing as much as somebody like Monica, who's just more playful. And she's okay. She'll film videos and just kind of let you right into her life. And people go, man, I just like that girl. Like, I don't know what it is about her, but I just like her. If that's all you could accomplish, if during the next 2 weeks, you were able to check off a couple of these things, identify some objections, gather some testimonials, warm up your warm list, and maybe start to build a little buzz. This is really more of a pre-launch. That's the next phase, where we got to really start to build some buzz, and we're going to start hitting these two, okay? But if that's all you were able to do, that would also help you build some trust, by the way. If that's what you were able to do over the next 2 weeks, related to whatever the story is that you want to tell about this program, this product, and the people that are involved with it, if you can do that over the next 2 weeks, I can't guarantee you that in February you're going to have great sales. What I can guarantee you is that you're going to build on this thing. You're going to build on this thing. And you may not have to wait until February, You may not have to wait until February for the program to come out to start making some more sales. Because what we're going to talk about as we get into this is really starting 21-day fixed groups, okay? 45 days out is when we should start being 21-day fixed groups. And there should be one and then another one right after it that is telling a story the whole time and leading up to the launch of this program. If you can do that, you're going to really inspire some people to get on board with this thing, and you can have a huge event with it. Again, if you're watching this video and the 21-day fix is not your thing, or you're watching it and we're talking about it, at a later date, and it's another program that's coming out, the same rules apply. We're talking about the 21-day fix. This is a formula. This formula, you plug and play this thing into an iPhone release. If you look at iPhone, I'm not going to get into that. Look at Apple's marketing. Hello? This is what they do. This is what they do. That's why they have that big Apple conference, and that's where they release their phone. Because they play off of that. I'm giving you the triggers that these major marketers are using so that you'll go use them. All right. That's really it for the call tonight. I appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, it's a subject that I enjoy. I love marketing. I love that I get to do this as part of my job and get to learn more about this stuff and figure out, put it all in play and have fun with it. If you're on my list and you watch me on social media, and Monica, you're going to start to see some of this stuff. Pay attention. Pay attention. I don't exactly know, aside from what the other ideas that we want to enroll people in. I asked Monica, hey, this is kind of your baby. I'll be the marketing monkey, but this is your program. This is what you like to do. What are the stories you want to tell? Let's create something fun. Let's play with them a lot. Let's play with them and have fun with it, And I think if we can do that in February, we're going to have a really, really awesome product release. So that is it. I've gone way over the time that I was going to go. Thank you for your time. Have a great night. Again, if you're interested in the survey thing, get hold of me. We can work on that. Come up with some cool content for survey. I got a great idea for it. So if you're interested, get a hold of me. Have a great night. That's the end of the call.